Deep boy. What the did you do?
Your dog has been trying to tell you something for a very long time. She tells you with her eyes, with the soft sound she makes when you are not looking, with the way she walks across the room the moment you come home. Most of us are missing every single word of it. Not because we are bad people, but because nobody ever taught us how to listen. Let's tell you 7 specific things you might be doing without even knowing it, are quietly breaking the one creature on earth who chose you on purpose. Number 7. You come home and act like they were not there. There is a moment that happens in your house almost every single evening. You walk through the door after a long, brutal day, and she's right there, waiting the way she always is, tail going in those wide, happy circles, her whole little body vibrating like she has been holding her breath the entire time you were gone. And without even thinking about it, you walk straight past her so you can drop your keys on the counter and check your phone. She's still standing there behind you, watching the back of your head, waiting for a moment that quietly never arrives. That moment matters to her more than you realize, and researchers have actually measured it. When you and your dog look into each other's eyes after being apart, both of your brains release the exact same chemical that a mother and her newborn baby release the first time they meet each other. The same chemical, doing the same work, in the same part of the brain. Wolves raised by humans from birth do not do this at all. Only dogs do. Somewhere across thousands of years of slow, quiet evolution, dogs grew an entirely new circuit in their brain that specifically waits for you to look back at them. That is not a pet sitting at your feet. That is an entire species that quietly rewired itself just to need your eye contact. And it gets harder to sit with. Scientists recently measured something almost no one talks about. The actual volume of tears in a dog's eyes increases during reunion with her owner. Not with a stranger, not with a familiar friend, only with the owner. Her body produces tears for you specifically when you come home. Let that one land somewhere real before you move on. We treat reunion like a quick transition between 2 parts of our day. To her, the reunion is the entire event she has been building toward for 9 straight hours. The dog who eventually stops greeting you with that same wild, full-body joy is not a dog who finally grew up and calmed down. She is a dog who quietly stopped believing you were coming back the same person who left her this morning. Chapter 2. You stop doing the little routines they love.
See how darty she is? But she's doing pretty good.
There is a very specific kind of stare your dog gives you when something is supposed to happen, and it is not happening anymore. Her head tilts slightly to the side, her eyes flick toward the door, then back to your face, then back to the door again. Sometimes there is a soft whine that sounds almost like a question she does not have the words for. That stare you keep catching out of the corner of your eye is a calendar entry your dog made inside her own brain a very long time ago, and you broke the appointment without ever telling her you were not coming. Veterinary behaviorists keep arriving at the same conclusion. Predictability is what works best for dogs. The lack of it has actually been identified as one of the initiating factors for canine compulsive disorder, the kind of condition where dogs lick their own paws raw until the skin breaks open, all because the schedule they built their entire internal clock around stopped being reliable enough to trust. Try to think about it from her side. She does not have a phone telling her your work schedule changed. She does not know your mother is in the hospital or your project deadline got moved up. All she knows is that the thing that always used to happen is not happening anymore, and the human who runs her entire universe seems to have forgotten about her completely. Your dog is not mad at you. Your dog is confused in a way she does not have the language to express, and confusion in a creature who depends on you for everything is its own quiet kind of suffering. If it goes on long enough, the worst presentation of all begins to settle in. She simply stops anticipating anything. Owners almost always mistake that final stage for the dog finally settling down. It is not settling. It is a quiet surrender you taught her without meaning to. Chapter 3. You only notice them when they do something wrong.
Who's done this? Who's done this?
There is a brutal little phrase that gets passed around in animal behavior circles. Even negative attention from a beloved owner is better than nothing at all for a dog. Sit with what that actually means. Your dog would genuinely rather be yelled at than ignored. The dog jumping on the kitchen counter, stealing the sock from the laundry basket, barking at every single thing outside the window is not being defiant or stubborn the way you keep telling your friends she is. She's pulling the handle on a slot machine, hoping desperately that the only person in the entire world who matters to her will finally turn around. Every time you spin around to yell at her, you just paid out the jackpot she was gambling for. The major veterinary behavior organizations have all reached the same conclusion, and the language they use is not soft. There is no evidence that aversive training is necessary for anything at all. Yelling, correction, and physical force have a measurable damaging effect on the bond between the human and the dog she loves. The definitive study on this looked at 92 companion dogs across 7 training schools. The dogs trained with aversive methods displayed more stress-related behaviors, were caught in tense body postures more often, panted more during sessions, and showed higher cortisol levels even after the session was over. The damage followed them home through the front door and into the rest of their life. A follow-up study took 100 dogs through a test designed to measure whether they lean optimistic or pessimistic about the world. The dogs whose owners used aversive methods became measurably more pessimistic about their own lives. There is a real scientific test for whether a dog is hopeful about her own existence, and those dogs failed it. The fix is not complicated. It is just inconvenient. You have to catch her doing something right. You have to reward the moment she chose your leg over the open trash can. The dogs who never get caught being good eventually stop trying to be seen at all. Chapter 4. You ignore them when they calmly ask for attention. Your dog has been talking to you all day long, and you have probably missed most of what she said. That is not a guess. That is the conclusion of decades of research into how dogs actually communicate with us. A Norwegian trainer spent her career cataloging what she came to call calming signals. More than 30 of them. Soft little lip licks when no food is around. Slow blinks aimed straight at you. Yawning when nothing is tiring about the moment. Approaching you in a curved line instead of walking straight on. Every single one is a complete sentence your dog is speaking, and the entire grammar of her language is built around one quiet word: please. When those signals get ignored, something genuinely dark begins to happen. Behaviorists formalized the pattern and called it the ladder of aggression. At the bottom are the softest possible signals. If the human in the room keeps ignoring those, the dog has no choice but to climb up the next rung. She paws at you. She nudges your hand with her cold nose. Still ignored, she climbs higher. The growling begins. The snapping starts. The biting happens. Every single dog who has ever bitten a human climbed every single rung of that ladder first, in plain sight of someone who could have stopped it. On every single rung, somebody was not listening. The lean into your leg while you stand at the kitchen sink. The paw resting on top of your foot under the dinner table. The head laid gently on your knee while you scroll through your phone. None of those moments are background noise. Every single one is a love letter she's writing to you in real time. If you keep tearing them up unread, eventually she just stops writing. Chapter 5. You scold them after they no longer understand why.
Can. Matzi.
You walk into the kitchen after a long day. The trash is everywhere, and there in the corner is your dog, head pressed low, ears pinned flat, eyes locked on the floor, doing exactly what every dog owner in history has called the guilty look. What is actually happening in that moment is going to mess with your head a little. She does not feel guilty about anything. She has no idea what she did. A cognitive scientist at Barnard College finally settled this question with a clever experiment. Owners were sometimes correctly told, and sometimes deliberately falsely told, that their dog had eaten a forbidden treat. The famous guilty look had nothing to do with what the dog had actually done. The look only appeared when the owner scolded the dog, regardless of guilt. The look was actually stronger in the dogs who had not done anything wrong than in the dogs who had. The dogs were not displaying guilt. They were displaying pure, naked fear of the human standing over them with an angry face. The major veterinary behavior organizations all have the same hard rule about punishment. Any consequence must be applied within 1 second of the behavior that caused it. 1 single second. Not 5 minutes later when you find the mess. Outside that window, it is biologically impossible for her brain to make the connection. So what is she connecting all that anger to instead? You. Every time you walk through the door angry about something that happened hours ago, you are teaching her to be afraid of you walking through the door at all. Chapter 6. You give all your attention to someone new.
See what she thinks? She seems excited.
A new baby in the house, a new partner moving in, a new puppy, a friend visiting for the weekend who your dog suddenly has to share you with. And there she is, wedging her body between you and whoever you are hugging, climbing into your lap completely uninvited, nudging the rival away with her cold nose. Owners laugh at this. They call it cute. What they are actually watching is a primitive threat response firing somewhere deep inside their dog's brain. Researchers at the University of California, San Diego ran a beautiful study on this. 36 dogs in their own homes. Owners were asked to give all their affection to one of three things: an animated stuffed dog that barked and wagged, a jack-o'-lantern bucket, or a children's pop-up book. The dogs barely reacted to the bucket or the book. The stuffed dog drew snapping, pushing, and frantic attempts to break up the interaction. They were not jealous of the object she was touching. They were jealous of the connection itself. A separate team trained dogs to lie completely still inside an MRI machine while still awake, and watched what happened inside their brains. The dogs showed significantly higher activation in the amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, when their owner fed a fake dog versus dropping food into a bucket. Your dog is not being petty. Your dog's brain is sounding an actual alarm. A lot of dogs who suddenly develop behavior problems after a baby arrives are not acting out. They are watching the most important relationship in their entire life shrink in real time, and they have no language to ask you what is happening to her family. Chapter 7. You leave them alone without comfort or a predictable routine.
Hi, pups.
Your dog has been alone in the house for 6 hours. You think she slept through most of it. You think she's fine. She's not fine, and the science on this is the hardest part of the whole video to sit with. Researchers measured the stress hormones in dogs with separation anxiety. Within the first 5 minutes of being left alone, cortisol levels spiked sharply inside her body. Not after an hour, not after the destruction started. 5 minutes. Her stress chemistry was already screaming inside her body before you had even reached your car. And here is the part that genuinely matters most. When the dogs were given access to a piece of the owner's worn clothing, or a recording of the owner's voice playing softly in the room, the cortisol response was significantly blunted. The smell of you in the room was enough to tell her entire nervous system that she was not abandoned. A t-shirt with your scent on it changes her brain chemistry. That is how primal this bond actually is. Every single one of these 7 things is the exact same wound wearing a different costume. The wound of unpredictability. The wound of a bond that keeps shifting under her paws. And every single one can be healed by the exact same medicine. Showing up, listening to her quiet voice before it has to get loud, looking her in the eye when you walk through the door tonight. She did not ask for much when she chose you out of every human on Earth. She just asked you to be the human she already believes you are. Outro. Tell me in the comments which one of these hit you the hardest. And if your dog is lying near you right now, go look her in the eye for the moment she has been waiting all day to have with you.